What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Game Week 14 deadline stream. Another deadline. We are back again after a week-long break. And yeah, how are you guys doing? Are you prepared for Game Week 14? The chaos that's going to happen this week. We have a couple of players, creating a lot of trouble for us FPL managers in the name of Bowen. Now we've got the Watkins news as well. There are rumors that Cash may not start. Of course, there are some inklings or some kind of information that we will get, maybe a leaked lineup, maybe some information before the deadline. So we'll keep you guys posted. We'll keep you guys updated as well. But yeah, welcome to the stream. It's good to be back. FPL is back again this week. It's a busy, very busy period coming up. And I think there are a lot of deadlines, maybe about 6 or 7 deadlines in the next month or so. I think it's going to be chaotic. I think it's going to be very interesting as well. A lot of people are talking about benches. A lot of people are talking about which players to cover and all that stuff. And of course, we will deep dive into all those details as well. But in case if you have any questions first for the Game Week 14 deadline, make sure that you add that in the chat, in the comments, and we can help you out. Of course, it also kind of helps me think more, think deeper, and gain a better perspective about how things are going to happen in a particular game week. In this case, it's Game Week 14. So happy to be back, excited to be back. Was not very sure in terms of my transfers, in fact, till last night. And I think I made a couple of moves. Luckily, I had 2 free transfers. A lot of people just have 1 free transfer. Maybe they've already used 1 free transfer by making some sort of move early. And now the Watkins news has come up. People are trying to get rid of Diaby. People are trying to get rid of Nketiah, Bowen. I mean, so many players that people do not want in their FPL teams. And I think we're kind of moving towards a template of sorts. There are a lot of people with Son. There are a lot of people with Salah, Haaland. So I think there's a template already kind of forming up with the likes of Mboma as well. Yes, there are a few spots in terms of the second striker, in terms of the 3 defenders. Most of us by now do have 1 Arsenal defender. We also kind of do have 1 Newcastle defender, somewhere in there in the squad. Maybe a cheaper Lascelles, maybe a Trippier. I've seen a lot of teams with Trippier in there as well. So I think some sort of template has already kind of been forming now. Let's see if that breaks in the next month or so, with maybe a few injuries, maybe a couple of players losing their positions, losing their spots. A Simicast move where Simicast doesn't start, I think that could create a lot of chaos as well. But just very interested to see how the month unfolds. And in terms of my moves, I've gone for Mboma. Basically, I had Diaby. Yes, you can argue that the fixture this week is pretty decent. Actually, it is a decent fixture. Bournemouth are a good team. So that kind of means that they might score, or Aston Villa may not keep a clean sheet. Now, from a cash perspective, I totally get that you're trying to get rid of cash. And there is a lot of logic to it as well. But I think from an attacking point of view, the likes of Watkins, if he starts and if he plays, that's a big if. And Diaby, I think they're okay this week. But I think a lot of managers like me have lost patience with Diaby. And we've kind of, jumped the gun or kind of made the move to Mboma. Let's hope that works out, because the fixture is really good. It's Luton at home. I think it's a plum fixture for some really good points. Mboma, we know that he's been playing really well this season. And I think he is the mainstay in that Brentford attack. I think it's going to remain like that. Let's just keep our fingers crossed that he does well. The second move which I made this week was taking out Watkins. Now, you don't have to take out Watkins. Of course, we will talk about certain cases where Watkins needs to be kept, where Watkins needs to be sold. There are certain iterations there as well. But I think I'm okay taking a bit of a chance. Darwin is a huge risk. I can't sit here very confidently and say that I fully trust Darwin, because of the fact that I've had Darwin this season. I've kind of gotten burnt by that as well. I'm sure a lot of other managers have been in the same boat, in the same picture as well. But I just feel he's a good pick. I mean, in the sense that, he gets a lot of chances. I agree. And I kind of get that he does miss a lot of those big chances. I mean, to get a goal or 2, maybe he has to get 3 or 4, big chances or really good chances. And then maybe you can expect a brace, maybe a goal or so, something like that. But I just feel it's a good upside pick. It's good to have a little bit of fun as well. Plus, if he doesn't work out, and if Wilson is, maybe not nearing a return, he's not getting a start, I still feel he's probably not going to get starts suddenly in December, considering the fact that he's already quite injury prone. So I think easy route is Isak as well. Now, you can argue that why didn't you go for Isak? I think the next 2 fixtures is specifically for Darwin are really, really good. So I think I want to attack that and then want to shift to Isak if this move doesn't work out. So there is a fail-safe backup plan in place, and let's see how it happens and what happens. But yeah, that's what my thinking was in terms of my team and my transfers for this week. Hey Don, hello to you. Welcome to the stream. Watkins to Isaac, Nunes, and Bowen to Palmer for a -4. Already have Mbomo, Saka, Salah, Gordon. I think it's a solid midfield with Mbomo, Saka, Salah, and Gordon. I think the conversation, a lot of people are having this doubt in their head whether to go for a Gordon, Palmer, maybe a slightly another cheaper sort of an option, maybe a Kudus as well. I think I just feel Palmer, yes, he's been getting goals, he's been getting points. A lot of that attacking threat comes from penalties. Now, logic says that you're probably not going to get penalties every week, right? And that kind of makes sense in your head. But of course, you can't predict football. You can't really predict what's going to happen with Chelsea and the opponents that they're playing week on week. So I think, to be very honest, I'm not very convinced with Palmer. Yes, in terms of what he's provided, and we ultimately need points, right? We can talk about XG, we can talk about assists, we can talk about other things as well. Ultimately, we need FPL points, and he has provided those FPL points. So I think from a logical point of view, Palmer makes sense. I'm a risky player. I'm a slightly more aggressive, more attacking player. So I think my move, if I'm going for a Chelsea option, would be probably a Sterling right now. So that's the reason I think. I mean, yes, I understand that Mbomo is already there and Gordon is already there, so the options kind of get very limited. But I think Bowen to Kudus is also a pick for a -4. I'm not very sure. Palmer is a long-term option. I mean, supposedly a long-term option. You can keep him for all these weeks. So if Bowen to Sterling is possible, I'll probably take that. But if it's not possible, then I'll probably do Bowen to Palmer, save that money, invest that money elsewhere. Watkins to Isaac, again, it's not a must or necessary move to make. Yes, you may have this opinion that he may get some minutes, he may get a start, stuff like that. Opponents are easy. I mean, there's potential to score goals. And most likely a lot of managers, including me, I've done these moves this week. A lot of managers may do it next week as well. So we are kind of shipping away or, taking off that Watkins ownership. So the risk is not going to be a lot because I think a lot of people have already sold Watkins. I think he's probably the second most sold this week. Yeah, 400,000, almost 500,000 transfers out this week. So already a lot of managers are transferring him out. I think a fair few will also transfer him out next week and the week after. So you're mitigating the risk. There is still risk, definitely. But I think these are good moves. For a -4, I mean, isn't ideal, but I think it's okay. There's a risk for sure. And if you understand the risk, if you accept it, I think it's absolutely fine. Don't fancy Salah captaincy. I mean, against Fulham, on paper, it sounds like a great fixture. On paper, it sounds like Salah's probably going to brace maybe a hat-trick. Maybe he even does that as well. But Fulham, I mean, the expectation with Fulham is that generally, or the perception actually with Fulham is that they concede a lot of goals. It's not been that this season. I mean, yes, they still conceded a decent amount of XG, but I still feel they are a slightly better defense this season. Having said that, I don't expect them to keep a clean sheet against Liverpool away and Liverpool playing at home. So yes, there is good potential with Salah as well. But I still slightly fancy Haaland just because of the fact that it's, of course, a home game for Man City. It's against Postecoglou and a Postecoglou team which is very attacking. They will probably play a high line. They will probably be quite... I mean, he's already said that in the press. And I think he's a very straightforward manager. He, takes no BS. And he's right up to it saying that, we will absolutely have a crack at it. Yes, we may not succeed, but we're not going to go there scared, defend deep, and play defensive the entire game. So I think that itself tells you the mentality of the coach, that tells you the mentality of the players as well. And I think you can see, I mean, when you see Tottenham's games, I think it's translating very well on the pitch. Yes, with Maddison's injury, you can say that, the attacking threats, the creative output, the creative engine is kind of suffering because players like Højbjerg, players like, Gill and all these kind of players, I don't think so they're going to work, especially in those attacking sort of roles. So I think the attacking impetus may be slightly reduced, but from a defensive point of view, I do feel that Tottenham are quite an open side. I think they will concede chances, and I think Haaland has the potential to, score a couple of goals, maybe even a hat-trick. I mean, to be very frank, it's not very far away in terms of, who's the better captain. I mean, what I mean to say is that the gap is not huge like other weeks or, like certain weeks. So I think you take your chance, you take your bets. I'm not a Liverpool fan, so I think I'm okay watching Salah. I still feel Haaland's effective ownership is definitely going to be slightly higher than Salah because I think a lot of people are going to go a little safer here. But I mean, yeah, if you go with Salah captaincy, I don't think so. There's anything wrong with it. Starting cash. Hey Kiran, first of all, hello to you. Welcome to the stream. Start cash or Lascelles this week. I mean, from a defensive point of view, Lascelles makes more sense because Man United are Man United. We don't know what's going to happen with them. We don't know what kind of team turns up on the pitch. It's a home game for Newcastle where they're traditionally very strong defensively. You expect Newcastle to keep it tight at the back, but again, it's Man United at the end of the day. They can concede a couple of goals. They can score a couple of goals. Who the hell knows what's going to happen with Man United? So logically, again, I think cash makes more sense. I know that there are certain rumors, etc., saying, or certain conversations happening in the community where people are talking about he may not, last 90 minutes, he may not get a start. Depends on which position he plays in. I think all of these are very, very true. So with cash as well, you're taking a slight risk, but I do feel that there is potential for clean sheet. More than the clean sheet, I think there's potential for attacking returns, which may not be true with Lascelles. So I think if you go against that prediction where cash is predicted to get benched, I think it's okay to go cash. But I mean, yeah, Lascelles, I'll still take a chance with cash unless I get something very concrete saying that this is the predicted lineup, or this is the lineup, actually not even a predicted lineup, this is the leaked lineup for the Aston Villa game, or we kind of get this information that cash is definitely in the 11, in the playing 11. So other than that, I think I still prefer cash. But if you are not happy with those chances, if you don't want to take a risk, if you feel that he may come on from the bench in the last 15-20 minutes, maybe one half, who knows what's going to happen there. And if you want to play very, very safe, I think you go Lascelles. Lascelles is definitely going to get a start. I don't see a situation where Lascelles doesn't start against Man United. And as I said, me being a United fan, I'm not very confident about United in general, their FPL prospects as well. Whether they are attacking, whether defending, can't trust them at the moment. So I think safer you go Lascelles. If you're okay with a slight risk and a slightly higher upside pick is cash. I mean, even if I was a big Liverpool fan, I think I'll still. I mean, in that situation, maybe the answer changes because I would want to see my team doing well, which is Liverpool, which is not Liverpool, but in this hypothetical situation, it is Liverpool. And I would, of course, want my team to do well. And if the team I'm supporting does well, and I have that captain, and that captain, scores a brace, scores a hat trick, gets a mega haul, of course, I'll be super, super happy. So I mean, logically, you can go against Salah. There's nothing wrong with it. But I mean, it's a good fixture. I won't. It's not that Salah is facing, for example, Man City, and probably it's going to be a tough game. Maybe we are predicting a dull 1-0, 0-0 sort of game. And the other fixture or some other player, maybe not the right example, but maybe Haaland has a different opposition, a much easier opposition, and maybe Salah is facing one of the tougher teams. I can't really think of a tougher team than Man City at the moment, but yeah, maybe they're facing Arsenal, for example, Arsenal away. I think if that was the case with Salah and maybe Haaland was facing Fulham, yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense to captain Haaland. But I think in this situation, I don't think so. It's very, very far away in terms of the captaincy. So I think you can absolutely go for it. Do you think Nunes is the better buy than I mean, Nunes is a good buy for the next 2 weeks. Now, does he start the next 2 games? I think so. Can I be 100% sure? Absolutely not. But I still do feel that there is good potential. The fixtures are really good. You can't say that, you're probably jumping the gun or you may be jumping on him a lot earlier than the others because I think he's already almost about 20% owned. And he's had some decent amount of transfers in this week. Fulham at home, Sheffield away, Palace away. I think those are good games. Even United at home could be a decent game. Arsenal at home, Burnley away, then Newcastle at home. Those are probably slightly trickier fixtures. Of course, not the Burnley game, the Arsenal and maybe the Newcastle game. But I think overall looks pretty good. The only concern with Darwin Núñez has generally been his minutes. I'm fairly confident about his minutes, at least in the next 2 or 3 games. At least till Game Week 16, I think he's going to start. Also, we don't have a proper timeline in terms of when Wilson is going to return. So if he's a short-term injury risk of sorts, then maybe Isak also, maybe he doesn't. He starts the next 2 or 3, but then there's probably some limited minutes for Isak there as well. Maybe Wilson gets a start in middle, considering the fact that there's so many games coming up, I think, and the fact that Newcastle don't really have a lot of attacking options in terms of that number 9 spot. So I think there could be some rotation there. Generally, also, I think the next couple of games are better for Liverpool as compared to Newcastle. When we see Newcastle's fixtures in the next two, we have Man United at home, Everton away, and they're okay, Spurs away. So United Spurs, you would expect them to also, play in a more attacking way. That probably will take a little bit of attacking impetus from Newcastle as well. Having said that, I don't believe that Newcastle is not going to score in any of these games. But I just feel, I think Nunes has a better shot at getting more points, and that's the only logic here. And I think, I think for the next couple of, at least the next 2 or 3 weeks, I think Nunes looks like a better option. Also, the fact that you can take a chance with Nunes for the next 2 or 3 weeks, if you see his minutes are getting limited, or maybe he's losing his spot, or he's already lost his spot, and then you, on the other hand, you see Isak maybe getting a good return, and you probably want to jump there. I think it's an easy switch as well. So yeah, go Darwin, and then you can switch to Isak if required. Hey Shakib, hello to you. Welcome to the stream. I've been good. Very, very hectic last week. I was out of town for a wedding, and very hectic, but good to be back. Good to be back streaming, and good to be back playing FPL as well. Feels like it's been a long time since FPL is kind of taken a lot of my time, but it's just generally good to be back. I hope you're doing well as well. Which one free transfer should I do? Eze and Bowen to Palmer and Odegaard for -4? Can't afford Saka. Do you have preferred move instead? Won't go Odegaard for sure. Not look the same player. Still don't think that he's gonna get dropped for majority games. I still feel he's gonna get minutes in him, but I just feel if I'm taking Eze and Bowen out, I'll probably go Palmer, which kind of covers that Eze money, maybe slightly cheaper as well. And then with some additional money, I mean, I generally don't think so. I would, and this probably might be a slightly controversial opinion, but I don't think so. I very much prefer an Arsenal attacker at the moment. Yes, the next couple of games, sorry, are decent, and the idea or the ideal situation, it would be that you can get towards the Saka, but I think even I don't have Saka, and I'm not very worried about him. Yes, he's hurt a couple of times over the past few weeks, not the immediate weeks, but in general, I think he's hurt us in terms of rank, because he's been getting these 8, 5, 6, and these kind of points where he's getting one assist, nothing much. But I generally don't see a lot happening from Arsenal's point of view. I think they are playing a bit pragmatic. They're not as attacking as they were last season. Though against Luton, they can absolutely go crazy. Against Wolves, I think it's still going to be a slightly tighter game. I don't think so. It's going to be free flowing 4-0, 5-0 from the Arsenal team. So I think also the fact that Gabriel Jesus is probably going to return in the lineup, and Ketia is going to lose his place. We do not know what's going to happen there. Whether Martinelli becomes a better assist. I got Martinelli, took that risk a couple of weeks ago. Clearly, it's not worked out. But I'm still having a faith in Martinelli, considering the fact that, I have him and he's kind of a safe Arsenal cover. Though I still don't think so. He's covering Saka at the moment, but luckily Saka has not been scoring huge or, a lot of FPL points. So I personally don't think Martinelli or Odegaard or any other Arsenal mid covers Saka. Either it's Saka or it's just the logic where you go without Saka. You take a chance with no Arsenal at the moment. And if an outlet appears where you can probably switch a Watkins to a Gabriel Jesus, or Darwin to a Gabriel Jesus, or even Isak to a Gabriel Jesus, I think that is decent. Rather, I'll go with a double up in the defense from the Arsenal team. So I think I'll look for other options. Probably, I mean, you're taking out Eze Bowen. Of course, you don't want them. I don't know if you have Mbomo in your team. I think he would be my priority transfer. I think Gordon is also okay. I don't think so. He's a bad move. Kudus can be one option in case if you want to take a bit of a risk, a bit of a chance. I think Kudus could be one pick. Considering you're already getting Palmer, I think a double of a Palmer and Sterling, that is differential, but I don't think so it's going to be very, very advantageous considering the fact that you already have some cover in Palmer. Though I do feel that Sterling is a better option than Palmer, but I also do think that both of them are not required in your team. So I look at the likes of Mbomo, I look at the likes of Gordon, I look at the likes of even Chan, for example. I don't think so he's a very bad option. This week it's Arsenal. I understand that you would not want to make that transfer this week, but if you look at the next couple of games, it's Burnley at home, Forest at home, West Ham away could be tricky, Chelsea at home, Brentford away, and then Everton at home. So I mean, 3 greens in the next 6 or 7 fixtures. I think there could be a chance where we can go for Chan as well. So I mean, there are these options that are there. I won't probably look at Mitoma as well because of the fact that I do think he's going to get minutes, but I'm not very sure about his attacking potential. With Brighton, it's always a risk in terms of who's going to get the attacking returns. Penalties are definitely not going to be on Mitoma, so that kind of goes out of the window. And that's the reason I'm not very convinced of a Brighton attacker at the moment. Cash is picked to be benched. I mean, that's what we are hearing. In case, let's just quickly check if we have something. Right now, I don't. Yep. So what? There's a tweet by FPL Focal saying that regarding a Watkins, there was a message that he got. The message said a decision will be made closer to kickoff. I mean, it's always the same thing. Still more than 24 hours out. Late fitness test. Sorry, it's nothing concrete. I mean, not sure whether he starts or not. But yeah, I mean, I don't see anything for Cash. I still do feel that Cash is going to start, but let's see. Areola or Flecken. I think Flecken has a better fixture. Luton away aren't really a great side. Brentford at home are okay. I expect them to keep it tight and even keep a clean sheet. So I think Flecken has a better fixture. Adingra to Palmer worth a hit. I mean, Adingra to Palmer is worth a transfer. Whether it's worth a hit this week, I mean, it's Chelsea. And Chelsea aren't really a side who are brimming with confidence at the moment. I mean, they are yo-yoing, to be very honest. Sometimes they, put in a very good performance, then it's kind of back to the same shitty Chelsea. And again, no disrespect to any Chelsea fans, but that's what it is, and that's what's been happening with Chelsea. I probably expect the same trend to continue there as well. And that's what makes the Chelsea options a lot more trickier than people are kind of making them out to be. I mean, a lot of people are talking about Palmer, Sterling, and Kunku, for example, who's probably going to get minutes in the coming games as well. It's still not that straightforward with Chelsea options. I mean, yes, we are taking a bit of a risk, like we are taking with Darwin, for example, like we took with Gordon, for example, and it may pay off, but yeah, I'm not very sure. So basically saying that Adingra to Palmer worth a hit, maybe not. Wait for the move next week. I think, yeah, I mean, the same can be done next week as well. It's United, so I mean, yeah, I'll probably just make it this week because I do feel it's going to be an open game. I do feel that there are chances for both teams. I mean, even Adingra has a decent chance to get something from the game, but I mean, yeah, long term, if you want, I think go for the move this week and you probably cover it off in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Supposedly, if Palmer does get a penalty and you get some decent points, so yeah, I think worth a hit this week. I'll change my stance there. In defense, I have Lucas Digne, Soufal Simicas, spot on the bench. Should I get an Arsenal defender for -4, 1.7 million in the bank? I think -4 is okay for an Arsenal defender. I think they are one of the best defenses in the league right now. There is potential for clean sheets against Wolves, against Luton. Aston Villa, Brighton probably are going to be trickier games. Brighton at home, so maybe it's a little bit tighter than Liverpool, West Ham. Overall, if I'm looking at game week, maybe let's say 21, 22, before the Liverpool game, I think you can get 3 or 4 clean sheets from the Arsenal team easily. So I think yeah. I mean, my -4 I think is okay this week. Is Bowen playing? I mean, people are saying that he's not recovered. I mean, there are very conflicting reviews about Bowen, to be honest, because it's not very clear from Moyes, as Bowen is one of the standout players from the West Ham team. And I don't think so there's going to be anything, very clear. So I still feel, in terms of what I read, that he's still having problems with his knee, and he's definitely not going to be fit to face Palace. I mean, I think that's definitely true. Whether he starts, I'm not sure. Whether it's a long-term injury, again, I'm not too sure. So considering the fact that there's so much ambiguity around this player, around this FPL pick in specific, I think there are more than enough picks to kind of look towards, and not, considering the fact that you may be playing a 3-5-2, maybe a 4-4-2, but the idea here is that you are probably depending a lot on your midfield and your midfield picks to give you points. I think it's okay selling him, but yeah, personally, I don't think so he's going to play this week. And that's where I am. You think Cash will start? I do think Cash will start. Haven't really heard anything regarding any leaks or anything where we've seen that cash is not starting, any comments, etc. Yes, there's a risk for sure, but I do think that he starts this week. Did Bowen to Mbomo, Kabore to Simikas, sorry, for 2 free transfers. Starting 4-4-2, Trippier, Cash, and Lascelles. Should I do Son for Saka? I don't think so. I still feel Son is worth holding. I still feel he's a decent pick. I still believe in the Spurs more attacking and changed side this season. And yeah, this fixture will be very appealing considering the fact that Arsenal has a good fixture this week and Wolves at home might be a plum fixture. But I personally haven't really seen anything very intriguing from Saka in particular that convinces me to make that move. Logically, this week he has a better fixture, but I just don't feel Arsenal are the same team that they were last season, especially when we're talking about them going forward and them attacking. So I do think that Son is still the better option. I mean, he's the more talismanic option. High chances that Saka maybe doesn't take a penalty, Son does. And Son has more goal threat. Saka has been providing these assists, 1-1 assists, I think 4 in the last 5. And yeah, personally not very convinced. Let's just hope that he keeps quiet this week. But yeah, I won't even do this for a free transfer. If I had a free transfer, I don't think so. I'll do Son to Saka. Cash, Bowen, Mitoma out, Zinchenko, Gordon, Palmer, and Mbomo. And looks pretty good for a -4. I don't mind it. Cash, Bowen, Mitoma, all three slightly doubtful picks. Zinchenko is a good option. I don't see a lot of people going with Zinchenko because of the fact that they're either trusting Saliba or they can't afford a Zinchenko or they don't want to spend that 0.2, I think 0.2, 0.3 sort of million more. And they're kind of moving towards a Gabriel. I think Zinchenko is still nailed. I think he's a good option. Attacking as well. Let's hope that he gets some attacking returns. But yeah, overall, I think going with the Arsenal defender is absolutely fine. In terms of Gordon, Palmer, I still do feel Gordon is a better pick because there's more outlets to Gordon, though Palmer also is on certain set pieces, free kicks. He's on penalties as well. Chelsea has a better run of fixture. So if you're looking for a long-term option, if you don't want to make a switch, because I don't think so Gordon to Palmer deserves that switch. So in case if you are looking for a long-term option, you don't want to make any switches, make any moves for this particular player, I think you go with Palmer, you go with him long-term. And then, of course, Mbomo is a good pick in his own right. So I think good moves for -4. I think absolutely worth it. Excuse me. Guys, about half an hour to go, I think. So in case if you have any more questions, please feel free to add that or add them in the chat. If you're new around here, please feel free to like the stream as well. It really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And of course, if you've not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you can please do that as well. We do weekly streams, deadline streams, and where we try to answer all your questions and try to gain some more perspective in terms of how people are thinking and what they're thinking in terms of their own moves and their own transfers on a weekly basis. So yeah, your team is Areola, Lascelles, Gabriel, Cash, Porro, pretty solid and decent defense with Tsimikas as well. Palmer, Saka, Salah, Watkins, Haaland. Your bench is Mitoma, Bowen, Mupama, Turner. Whom to transfer? I think I'll probably look to transfer out Mitoma and Bowen both. I think one option that I don't see in your team is probably Mbomo, and I think I'll definitely go with that. So Mitoma out for Mbomo. I think Mitoma is 6.5, Mbomo is 7.1. So you'll probably be 0.1 short. But then you can easily cover that with Bowen as well. So you can take Bowen out, you can take Mitoma out, or you can just take Bowen out for this week and you can get in, basically you can get an Mbomo. Maybe just save the other free transfer because you can easily play, even if Watkins doesn't play, you have Mitoma who's definitely going to start this week. So you can take Bowen out, you can get an Mbomo, you can play him ahead of maybe one of your defenders. Maybe you can play him ahead of, I would still not substitute or a sub Cash. I think maybe you can play him ahead of Palmer, maybe you can play him ahead of Watkins if you feel that, Watkins is probably not going to get a start. And yeah, and then just save the other transfer, get more information about other options, other picks, maybe certain other picks emerge next week, and I think you can use that transfer there. 2 free transfers not really required. You still want it, of course. You can go for a Kudus, for example. You can double up with the Sterling, for example. So there are options that you can go for, but I think Sterling might be a bit tricky. Bowen to Sterling I think that should be okay because you have 0.6 as a difference, and then you can invest that 0.6 in the Mitoma to the other option move, Mitoma to the Mboma move. I think there you'll probably need another 0.6. So I think that should be okay. Why is everybody subbing Cash? There are rumors that, there are conversations that Cash is probably going to get benched. I understand why people are taking out Cash, but there aren't confirmed, or there isn't confirmed information that Cash is going to get benched. Yes, he may still end up getting benched. But in terms of my team, I have Cher, who's definitely going to get a start. And if Cash doesn't come from the bench, which is probably highly unlikely, I anyways get Cher as my player coming in. But I do feel that Cash is a better fixture when we compare him to a Cher, for example. So I think, I do feel that there is potential in Cash, especially for this week. I don't think so. Considering the fact that a lot of people are taking out Mitoma, they have the Watkins problem, they have the Bowen problem. I don't think so. A lot of people are looking to, take out Cash, unless, of course, they are taking hits or they have 2 free transfers and maybe just Bowen in their team, or one of Bowen or Watkins in their team. So that's where I am. That's where we are in terms of why everybody's subbing Cash. It's because of the possibility that he can get benched this week. And yeah, let's quickly see how many people have taken out Cash. I mean, still about 200,000 transfers out this week. I think it's more likely depends on what people would have taken out from the press conference, what people would have. A lot of people probably are going, because Cash is, I think, currently 5 million, right? 5.1, something like that. So I think a lot of people are looking to switch to an Arsenal defender, looking to switch towards a Chelsea defender. Maybe they are also going for a cheaper option and trying to save a little bit money as well. So there are multiple options, multiple directions which are available to people right now. And I think that is also probably making them sell Cash this week. If you had Taylor instead of Cher, would you start Taylor? I think I'll do. I mean, it's not crazy to think that you will start Taylor, because Sheffield United, they don't score a lot of goals. They do concede goals. So there is potential from, Taylor. And if I probably had him, I would have definitely started him instead of Cher. I mean, why not? There is potential. Yes, I mean, with teams like Burnley, with teams like Sheffield, Burnley has also been very open at the back. So you'll probably think that, maybe United will mess up more than a Burnley. but I do feel, logically speaking, I think Burnley has a good fixture this week. My team is Areola, Trippier, Cash, Simikas, Bruno, Son, Saka, Mbeumo, Palmer, Watkins, and Haaland. Already used my free transfer Mbeumo in Martinelli. Out looks pretty good. Should I take a -4 hit? If so, who should I get in? I have 2.2. I mean, if I'm taking a hit with this team, I think I'll definitely, of course, Bruno is someone I'm not, again, very sure of. I'm not seeing anything that, he's doing, and probably I'm not even missing anything that he's doing, and I'm not getting onto that. Newcastle away, Chelsea at home, Liverpool away, West Ham away, Aston Villa at home. Couple of really good games, but I can't trust United, and I think I've maintained this stance since a very, very long time. The United are still doing okay in terms of the league, in terms of their position in the league, but from an FPL point of view, I just feel at 8.3 there are multiple or better options than a Bruno, for example. So if this is Bruno Fernandes we're talking about, let me just quickly see if it's that or somebody else. Son, Saka, so that's 2, 3, Memo, Palmer. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming there'll be Bruno Fernandes. So yeah, I think I'll probably take out Bruno and get somebody else. This team doesn't have I don't see a Salah, and I think if a Salah is possible, I think I'll probably take. I don't think so it'll be possible, because 8.3 plus 2.2 is probably going to give you 10.5, and I think Salah is almost 13, right? So yeah, I mean, getting Salah would be a priority here, but I think there'll be a major surgery required, considering the fact that you also have Trippier. So I probably won't take off that whole balance of the team. So I'll keep Son, I'll keep Saka, I'll keep Mbeumo, of course. Palmer is fine. Maybe if I'm taking a -4, I'll probably take it on one of Isak or Darwin Núñez. It's risky. It's not required, but it's an option for sure. Depends on if you want to take a lot of risk or if you just want to play it safe. Playing safe, I think you keep Watkins, you assess next week. If you're okay taking a bit of a chance, if you're fancying Darwin against Fulham or Isak against United, I think you go one of them. I still prefer Darwin out of the two. Bring Núñez for Watkins or save the transfer. I think if it's for a free move, I think it's okay making that move. You don't have to take a hit for it. With Darwin, you always get good numbers, but whether he's going to finish every week in week out, we don't know that. So yeah, I think as a free move, definitely Nunes in for a Watkins is absolutely fine. But if you had Taylor in your team, would you play him instead of Cash? No, maybe not. I still believe that Aston Villa has a better team. I do know, or I do understand that Taylor has a better chance of starting, or his odds of being in the 11 are slightly higher than Cash. But I do trust in the title competing Aston Villa side. Again, nothing against the Villa fans, but I do think Villa is a very strong team, and in spite of being an away fixture, I think against Bournemouth, I do feel there is potential. So if I had Taylor in my team, and if I had Cash in my team and Share in my team, I think I'll still play Cash. Number two, or if I let's say if I didn't have Cash, and if the conversation was between Share and Taylor, I think I'll play Taylor. Basically, if I have Cash in my team, I'll play him ahead of the other defenders. Defense is Burn, James, Guehi, Taylor, Gabriel. Defense is weak. I mean, it's okay. To be honest, defense is not really giving a lot of FPL points this season. If you see most of the attacking defenders, big at the back strategy and all that stuff has gone out of the window. Unless you had an Arsenal defender from the very beginning in a Saliba, for example, maybe you had Anderson or a Trippier all this while. I think you've been in a decent spot. Otherwise, I think all of us are in the same boat where we are struggling to find the right defenders for our team, and I think it's probably one of those seasons. So I think it's okay. Should I upgrade defense of Watkins to Solanke and next game week upgrade Burn to Share? I don't think so. An upgrade to defense is required. I mean, James, if this is Reece James, I mean, I don't think so. There's another James, but if this is Reece James, I think he can be taken out. I think he's suspended. He's not going to play. With James again, I can't trust him. I mean, something or the other happens to him, whether it's an injury, whether it's suspension. I think if I'm going with a Chelsea defender, I think it's going to be Colwill, for example. Yes, he's not gotten the last couple of starts, but I do feel that one of Colwill, Disasi is probably on the safer options. Otherwise, just go with the Sanchez. I think Sanchez is going to be number one, and I think you are kind of going a little bit cheaper here with with the Chelsea option. So to answer your question, I don't think so. I mean, I'm not sure whether that's an upgrade or not, but taking out James is probably one of the options. Guehi, Burn, Taylor, Gabriel. I think in a combination of sorts of these four players, I think it's absolutely fine. James probably can be taken out. You can even double up on the Arsenal defense if you have a spot available for the Arsenal from the Arsenal team. I think he's also an option that you can go for. But it's not a must to do make. I mean, because you can play Guehi. I mean, first of all, you can play Taylor, you can play Gabriel, so that leaves you with one spot, and the competition is probably going to be between Burn and Guehi. So Burn has United, Guehi has I think Palace does have West Ham. So it's not the end of the world. Probably just save this transfer and reassess next week. White and Bowen out for Havertz and Samikas. Not sure about Havertz. Not sure about any Arsenal attacker at the moment. Not even sure about Saka, to be very frank. Yes, he's been getting assists, but his numbers haven't been great. He's not been taking a lot of shots. He doesn't look like the Saka of last season, if I have to put it out simply. And I don't think so. I'll take out Bowen and get in Havertz. I think, and White as well. I mean, I'm not sure what's the logic behind taking out White and getting in Simikas, apart from maybe saving in some money. But if that's not the logic, I'd just keep White in your team. And yeah, I mean, if you're taking out Bowen, there's Mbomo, for example. If you already have him, then there's Gordon, there's Chan, there's Kudos. I mean, there's Palmer and Sterling as well. If you are planning a little long term, so I think those are probably better options. I have the Mubama guy from West Ham. I don't think so. He's getting minutes, so he's getting starts. There are some other couple of slightly cheaper options if you want to go in that 4.5, 4.6 sort of a price range. But yeah. Haven't had the time to see anything. What team news have you heard till now? Cash, Bowen, Watkins, Gabriel. Gabriel looks okay. Nothing around him. I think he's gonna be fine. Again, there's some information around Wilson. I don't think so. It's important. Maybe it's important for an Isak owner, for example. He did put out a message saying that he's feeling good, he's feeling better. So that kind of tells us that he's probably not going to be out for a very long time. Next couple of weeks, I think Isak is okay, but yeah. In terms of the information regarding Watkins, haven't seen anything. It's the same information. People are saying they have an update around Watkins. They'll be sharing near the deadline, so we'll keep you guys posted. But right now, I don't think so. There's anything very concrete. See, it's simple logic. I think if he starts, if he basically trains in the full session, basically participates in the full training session this week, I think there's a high chance that he starts. Otherwise, not. It's not that it's going to be a huge deal as well. I mean, it's just 1 week. I think a lot of people are going to transfer him out next week, the week after as well. So you're probably just making that move 1 week earlier. If you need to make it. I also do think that it's not worth the hit. Diaby to Saka, and hope Watkins starts, or Adingra to Gordon and Cash to Saliba or Zinchenko. I mean, Adingra to Gordon, Cash to Saliba for the -4 makes more sense. Not sure about. Maybe it's not the popular opinion, but I'm actually not sure about Saka as confident for Saka, or towards him in terms of his potential as an FPL option as compared to maybe some other people out there. Sell Son, not going to sell Son. For Mbomo, what do you think? I mean, for Mbomo, I can do one thing. I can sell him for Mbomo, then probably plan to get him back for a different option. If you plan to get him back, I think this move is okay. If this move is in isolation of that thought and you're probably not going to get Son back, I do think there needs to be some sort of rework there, because I do think Son is a better option than Saka at the moment. Yes, the fixtures might say otherwise, or this week it might favor Saka, but I do think Son has better potential generally. What do you think about choosing Zinchenko over Saliba? Saliba is more nailed. I think he's absolutely nailed. I don't think so. Unless he gets injured, I don't think so. He's going to lose his minutes. So yes, there's a price difference, and if you can afford that price, I think you go Saliba just to be absolutely safer. But I think Zinchenko is okay, not a problem. About Doku, haven't been spoken about a lot. We've seen some decent stuff from Man City, but it's difficult to predict. I mean, Foden could be a decent option. He's at least getting 90 minutes for majority games. Doku has had that massive haul against Bournemouth, but that Bournemouth game is not going to come every week. The last couple of games were difficult. 4-4 against Chelsea, got nothing in 58 minutes. Liverpool again, he got, I think he did decently well against Liverpool. Was pretty unlucky not to get anything, I think, from that game. But I'm still not there. I think a couple of more games, Spurs, Aston Villa, then they have some decent run, at least in 16 and 17. 16 and 17, correct. They have Luton Palace. I think those are good games worth targeting. But then 18, they have a blank. So unless you have, somebody on your bench who can cover off Doku, I think you can go with him. But I think there are other options, better options out there. Who to start, Areola or Edison? I think between the two, I'm okay starting Edison. I think I know it's Tottenham. I know it's the attacking Tottenham. It's the high-flying Tottenham, but I do think Man City at home could be a tight 1-0 sort of a game. Who do you start, Maguire or Taylor? I think I'll start Taylor. Should I transfer Mitoma, Bowen to Mpomo and Sterling for 2 free transfers, or with 0.5 in the bank, or do one transfer this week? I mean, Mitoma and Bowen out to Mbomo and Sterling is absolutely fine. I think you getting Mbomo for a slightly long term, and Sterling as well. I mean, that's at least the intention here. And I think with 2 free transfers, you have that flexibility, right? You don't have to take a hit here. And I think it's absolutely fine. You can go for it this week as well. I'm assuming the question is Dallo or Poro, sorry, not Pero. I think between the two, definitely Poro. since Madison's been injured, I think he's taken that attacking mantle on himself, and I think he is playing really well. He is getting into attacking positions. Very, very unlucky not to get anything or not to get a bigger return or channel returns over the last couple of games. Clean sheet wise, I'm still not very sure, but again, I can say the same for United and Dallo as well. So going by that logic, I still do believe that Porro has a slightly better attacking impetus in him, playing for a much more confident team at the moment, playing for Postecoglou, who is looking like a better manager than Ten Hag at the moment. So I think I'll go Porro. Should I start Guehi or Cash? I think I'll still take a chance with Cash. What to do with Watkins and Bowen? Only have one free transfer. So yeah, this is the case I was talking about. In case if you have both Watkins and Bowen, my priority would be to take out Bowen. Again, not very sure about what's going to happen with him. Watkins may miss out this week, may not start. I do still think that he will get some minutes, but I think he's going to be okay. It's not long term or anything. So I think in case if Watkins does well, I mean, you also have an option to keep him. I mean, I don't think so. A lot of people are thinking of keeping Watkins for the game after this week or the week after that as well. And you can be one of those differential options, or one of those managers who keeps him, has faith in him even in the tougher fixtures, because Villa are a very, very, very good attacking side. So there's always going to be potential with Watkins this season. At least till now, that's what we've seen. So yeah, if I just have one free transfer, if I have both Watkins and Bowen, I think I'll take out Bowen first, and probably would get in Mbomo as a priority option. If you already have a Mbomo, then of course you can go in different directions. You can go with one of the Chelsea boys. You can also look at a cheaper Gordon, for example. I think those are probably going to be the options. Should I start Maguire or Cash? But I've already started Trippier. I think I'll still start Cash. Can't trust Maguire. Can't trust United. I mean, yes, they may somehow get a clean sheet away to Newcastle. I mean, when I'm saying it, it feels odd, but yeah, I mean that's where I am. Adingra to Palmer for a hit. I think I answered this. Yeah, it's okay for a hit. It doesn't look very appealing, and the hit might not pay off instantly, considering the fact that Palmer is also depending on set pieces, penalties, and that kind of stuff. Not much from open play, but I mean, yeah, if you plan to keep this option long term, pretty decent option. Start Taylor or Anderson. I think I'll start Taylor. I have high hopes of Burnley keeping a clean sheet. Let's see if that happens or not. But yeah, I think Burnley are keeping a clean sheet this week. Have Cash, Watkins, and Bowen. The troublesome trio, as I like to call them this week. One free transfer. Think of doing Bowen to Gordon, or maybe Cash to either Tsimikas or Saliba. I think I'll take out Bowen, play Cash, at least give a shot to Cash and Watkins this week. If not, I can take one of them, at least one of them out next week. So yeah, I think I'll take out Bowen. And yeah, the preference would be Mbomo if he already is there in your team. Maybe just keep Bowen in your squad for this week, and instead take out Cash and do Saliba. I think if you have enough money to go Saliba or even Gabriel, I think Cash to Gabriel is also okay. Are you starting Cash? I am starting Cash at the moment. Haven't heard anything concrete in terms of he's not gonna. But I mean, that he's not gonna start, or he's probably not gonna get minutes. I do think he gets a start. But yeah, I think I will start Cash this week. Is Gabriel Jesus a better option than Darwin? Leak that Gabriel Jesus starts. See, to be honest, I think he could be a decent pick. He could be a good option as well. Whether he's a better option than Darwin Núñez, I'm not sure. We haven't really seen enough or much of Gabriel Jesus since his comeback from injury and all that stuff. I do think he makes the Arsenal team a better team, but Arsenal are playing slightly different than what they were last season. And he's injury prone. I mean, as you correctly pointed out, that he is injury prone. Plus the fact that Arsenal also has a ready-made option available in Nketiah. It's not like a West Ham situation, or it's not like a United situation where we are clueless in terms of whether, let's say if our main number 9 gets injured, we do not have options. So it's not that sort of situation with Arsenal. I think they can function decently well with and Ketia playing as number 9. Yes, I mean, you can argue the effectiveness of Martinelli, Saka, and the other attackers may not be as high. Maybe Havertz then comes into picture. Who knows? But yeah, right now it's very, very difficult to say. From what we've seen so far, I think Darwin looks like the better option. But with Darwin, again, the situation is that he needs a lot of these good chances, big chances created for him and given on a platter, because he does tend to miss a lot of good opportunities. He does tend to miss a lot of good chances as well. And that's what you have to live with. I mean, is this how he plays, or is this how he is as a player? He's not a great finisher. That is what we've seen already. But with him, there's always a sense of excitement that something will happen, and he is generally a good upside or a higher upside pick. So I think right now I'll say Darwin is a better option. Salah cap instead of Haaland, absolutely, there's nothing wrong with it. I think both of them are pretty close. Just feel that Haaland against a more open, much more open Tottenham side, I think could be a recipe for disaster for Tottenham. And also the fact that Postecoglou has openly said that he's definitely going to go for it. He's not going to sit back and defend. He's not going to be scared of the occasion and of the opponent. So that makes me think that they're going to be quite open, or generally, I mean, if you've seen Tottenham play, I think they're generally quite open in the back. And I think, though I do feel that Salah against Fulham is also good, but Fulham might be defensive away from home. They might shut up shop, might make it difficult for Liverpool to break them down. But I do think that he's a decent alternative. Still feel that Haaland is slightly better. Is Saka Darwin for Watkins out for a hit? Not necessary move this week. I think Watkins is. I do feel that he's gonna get some minutes. I'm not sure whether it's gonna be from the bench or whether he starts or suddenly just he plays 90 and nothing happens to him. But I mean, for a hit, it's a risk, and if you understand the risk, that it can also kind of backfire. Maybe wait out this week and make the move next week when Villa has slightly tougher games, and Darwin still would have at least a couple of decent fixtures. Isak, not very. I think if I'm going with one option right now, even if it's a hit, I think it's okay. But if it's an option at this week, I think I'll take a chance with Darwin. Play him out for the next 2 to 3 weeks, get some more information about what's going to happen with Newcastle. Though I do think Isak also for the next couple of games looks okay, because it's the same thing with Wilson every season, right? During December, during this period of time, I think he generally has these niggles and knocks, and all of this kind of makes his minutes very limited, and Isak a very prime or a good option. So that could still happen, but I do feel Darwin has better fixtures than Isak over the next 2 or 3. And I think if I'm taking a hit, which if I was in your situation, I would have taken a hit because I'm a slightly more aggressive player. If you want to play safe, don't take a hit. Wait out for next week and have some more information, gain some more perspective. But if you are a slightly more aggressive player, go for it this week. I mean, what's there to lose, right? Maybe Watkins comes in, scores, possible, or Isak or Darwin, whosoever you go with, blanks, right? I do think they're going to start, but I also feel that a lot of people are selling him, and it's going to be a lot more in the next 5 minutes or so, because I think a lot of people would be panic selling as well. We've not had any information. We'll also quickly check again, but I don't think so. We've had any unique or any information around Watkins getting benched. Any love on Gibbs White? I think Gibbs White is a very good option. I don't see a lot of majority managers talking about it, but I do think he could be a decent pick. I don't have anything against him as an option. He's getting 90 minutes. Last couple of games, he's had, I think, 2 or 3 returns as well. Fixtures, the next 2 or 3 look pretty good. It's Everton home, Fulham away, Wolves away, I think, and then Bournemouth at home in 18. So I think 4 of the next 5 fixtures are really good. And the fixture against Spurs could also be decently scoring for Gibbs White. So if you're looking for a differential, he comes with a decent amount of risk as well. You look at the likes of Palmer, you look at the likes of a couple of other options as well in that 5.5 to 6-ish million price range. I think a lot of people would probably flock towards those directions. But I think Gibbs White, if you're okay with the risk, if you're looking for a differential in your mini leagues, trying to compete against your rivals, etc., and trying to take a risk, trying to take a chance, I think Gibbs White could be a good differential. Doing Bowen to Gordon, starting Taylor over Anderson Cash, all the best. Yeah, I think I would have started Cash, but yeah, I mean, if that's what you feel, absolutely go for it. Bowen to Gordon is okay as well. Guys, a couple of minutes to go. Please don't keep it till the very end. At least save a basic. I won't even say draft. What do you have in mind right now? Save your team, make your transfers at the moment, and then come back and ask more questions if you want to. Bench one cash Almiron Trippier. I don't want to, but I'll probably bench Almiron. I think Cash and Trippier still could be decent. Watkins should Darwin for a hit. If you want to take a bit of a risk, I think it's okay. Otherwise, it's not a must move to make. Too scared to captain Salah over Haaland. I mean, I think both of them are going to have good games. I do think Haaland is probably going to have a better game. And that's where I am. I mean, even if let's say Salah outscores Haaland, I don't think so. It's going to be by a huge margin. So I think, yeah, I mean, the safer bet is to play Haaland captain this week. But if you're feeling an itch towards Liverpool and Salah absolutely smashing it, see, none of them are the early kickoffs, and I don't think so anything wrong is going to go there. But yeah, I think both are really good options. I'll just quickly check my team. Please check your teams as well. I think a couple of minutes to go. So captain is Haaland, vice captain is Salah. Team is set. Share on the bench. Cash, Gabriel, and Simikas in the back three. Guys, a couple of minutes. If you have any more questions, please feel free to add those in the chat. Again, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for being a part of the stream as well. I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope this has been useful for you as well. As always, if you're new around here, please feel free to subscribe to the FPL channel, Insanely Football. We do weekly deadline streams where you can always join us and ask as many questions as you want, talk about anything that you want, and we generally have a very good time. In case if you've liked today's stream, please hit the like button as well. As I said earlier, it does help us with the algorithm as well. And yeah, a minute to go. Start Gordon or Watkins. I'll start Gordon. I'll bench Watkins. I think Gordon against United could be okay. Could do well. I think, yeah, I'll take my chances. If the conversations between both, I think I'll start Gordon. Let's just see if we had any leaks or had any information. I don't see anything with regards to Watkins. Yeah. It'll be really funny if he comes, if he starts and if he scores a hat trick or something. I think that's gonna be typical and classic FPL. Great, guys, that's deadline. I hope you were able to save your teams and make your moves. Watkins, no Watkins, doesn't matter now. Let's just enjoy the football. I think looking forward to the games this weekend. And the next deadline is not very far away. It's on a Tuesday. It's the 5th of December. So it's not the usual 1 week or later deadline. It's the midweek deadline. And yeah. Looking forward to a lot of chaos in FPL. I think next week is also going to be very interesting. It's United Chelsea as well. Hoping United does something good, something worth watching. Otherwise, it's just been a very painful season to watch United. Good defense long term for 5 game weeks at least. If we're looking at 5 game weeks, let's just, now that 14 is done, we'll probably look from 15. If I'm looking at defenses, I think Chelsea's is a good good direction. I know a lot of people are not very confident about a Chelsea defender and which ones to go for. I think Colville is okay. If you're going for a keeper option, I think Sanchez is also a decent pick. I think Liverpool defender may not be the worst call. I mean, Simika, I still think that Robertson is probably going to be out for some time. So Simikas could be a decent pick. Sheffield United, Palace, Burnley. I mean, United Arsenal are going to be slightly trickier games, but a player like Simikas does have some decent potential, even when he's playing an attacking role. Newcastle could be a decent bet as well over the next 4 or 5 fixtures. I think that they have good potential for clean sheets. So, in case, I think the priority would be probably going for probably a Newcastle defender first, then maybe an Arsenal defender. I think those would be my starting directions. Then probably I'll come to a Chelsea defender and then Simikas. So I think that's probably going to be my starting thinking point. And of course, if we see some other teams or some other players, any specific picks come up as options next week, I think, of course, we'll talk about that as well. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much again for joining. I hope to see you next week and next game week, which is again not next Friday or Saturday. It's basically a Tuesday deadline. It's going to be slightly later deadline, so of course we will have the stream as well. In case if you have not thought about your team, if you haven't got time, please do feel free to join us, and I will try to help you out, set up your team in the best possible way. Till then, of course, watch a lot of football, get some clarity, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye bye.